Welcome back to BK Nothing But Nets. I got extraordinary co-host today, guest today, Pete from Nets Fans. Pete, how you feeling? How's everything going?
Good, man. I'm excited. I've taken a little layoff with putting out content, so this is my foray back, I guess.
It's
Let's go.
I have you of all the Brooklyn Net content out there. You came on my show to announce the comeback. Petey
Yeah.
rocking the 4-5. I appreciate it, Pete. All right. uh, I wanted to get into something. I haven't gotten your take on it. Like I said, I hope you're feeling well. I don't want to get into your business, but it's good that you're back. It's good to have you back, Pete. Cam Thomas takes the now. There was a very smart man last year that said next year Cam Thomas will take the qualifying offer. Do you remember who that very smart man was?
Me.
It was you. It was you. I thought it was ridiculous at the time that Cam Thomas would take the qualifying offer, but Pete from Nets Fans, you called this. Are you surprised now that it's come to fruition? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, because I don't think anyone could have predicted the offseason would play the way that it did. Remember, like you go back just a couple months and Shams was saying this is going to be the craziest offseason ever. The Nets are going to run the draft, right? And it winds up being minor moves. Nets only have pretty much the only cap space in the NBA, it felt like. And even though I said that whenever I said it, I really felt like both parties would have been a lot better off reaching a 2-year deal in some sort. So I was a little surprised. I'm not going to lie.
To me, this is I don't want to spend too much time as I want to get to the rest of the roster moves. You are Brooklyn Nets insider, so I do want to get your thoughts.
I am not an insider.
You are absolutely an insider.
No way.
Do not sell yourself short. Your thoughts on to me, this is a lose-lose situation. Your thoughts on that? If so, who's the bigger loser between who lost the deal worse? If you agree that it's a lose, what are your thoughts? Do you agree that it's a lose-lose here? Both parties come out short on this.
I'd love to be able to say that one side lost more than the other, but like you just said, it's a lose-lose because both sides have no protection. Cam Thomas does not have a contract for next year, took lesser money deal. And, this year is going to really be dependent on how much the Nets play him and what numbers he puts up. The Nets have no protection if he does go off, and Cam Thomas has no protection if he gets hurt or doesn't get playing time.
Do you know how many players have signed a long-term deal with the same franchise after they were franchise tagged? I mean, a franchise tag. I'm thinking football franchise tag. If they sound the qualifying offer, do you know how many?
I have no idea.
One, Spencer Hawes. That's it. That's the list. That's the list.
I would have not guessed that name.
Yeah,
that's kind of interesting.
It's one guy that's done it. Yeah. So my point is, I say all that to say the Nets don't view Cam Thomas as a long-term piece. They're now in a position where they may not be able to trade him. They can't trade him unless he agrees to it. Why would they even offer him the qualifying offer?
Gary, come on! Don't sell. You're smarter than this.
I'm asking. We're talking.
For conversation's sake, I think you know the answer to this. I think the people listening know the answer to this. You don't want to lose an asset for nothing. Even though you may not value the asset, someone else might. And even though Cam Thomas does have a no trade clause, you'd rather get a second round pick than nothing. Or maybe he becomes a free agent and you do a sign and trade sort of deal. So that's it. Like
he's got to agree to the trade. I think he took this deal because he hates the Brooklyn Nets and he's not agreeing to any trade. He could have just taken the $11 million, the deal that was worth from anywhere between 9 to 11. He could have taken that and gotten paid a lot more. You know what I'm saying? If he wanted to be traded, he would have taken that and taken more money, the 1-year deal. He didn't. He took the qualifying offer because, in my opinion, he wants to stick it to the Brooklyn Nets. Do you see it that way?
No way. This is I'll tell you why. This is prime earning years for him as a player, I'm looking at the money, and I don't care if the Nets offered him a $30 million per year deal. I'm taking. I don't care. It's all about the money, and it's all about his freedom. The Nets offered 2 other deals in which one of them I don't think he would have been able to keep his no trade clause. I think that one of them
He
he
had to
might have.
waive
I
it.
forgot.
Yeah.
He had to waive it.
Yeah.
Basically, this is okay. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna skip to the chase. This is the dirty little secret. Agents will talk to teams throughout the season, and Cam Thomas will know his destination before the season ends.
Yeah.
Flat
No,
out.
for sure. For sure. So let me ask you this. Does Cam Thomas play for the Brooklyn Nets October 22nd at Charlotte? Is he on the roster?
What do you mean, like by the before the
The
trade
opening day,
deadline?
October 22nd, the first game of the season. It's the
Oh
first
yeah,
game.
he's there. He's there at least till the deadline.
Does he end the season with the Brooklyn Nets?
This is the question that I'm having trouble gripping with, because the question comes down to, do you think you can get more by playing a risky play and hoping for a good offer and a sign and trade? Or do you just take whatever you could get at the trade deadline? Because his contract is so low, $6 million. There's going to be a contender out there that's going to be like, for a $6 million contract, a very easy deal to do, even if you're in cap trouble. Why not take the risk to add a 20-point scorer to add to your lineup?
No, I'm with you in the sense that I value what Cam Thomas brings you. I really do. Sean Marks doesn't. So I just fundamentally disagree on the value of Cam Thomas. I do think that you'll be able to trade him. And I think that it's in Cam Thomas's best interest to be traded to a playoff team, a contender, where he can go show that he can score in the playoffs. To me, this is a move done out of spite, which means he may continue to make moves out of spite and reject any trade that comes his way. But you might be right. He already may know where he's going to be traded. But if he knew
Gary, I'm going to cut you off. This is what's going to happen. The agent is going to come to Cam Thomas. He's going to say, these 3 teams are interested in you. And the agent will tell the Nets, listen, we're going to approve a team to approve a team. We're going to approve a trade to these 3 teams only. Try to negotiate. And the teams are going to know that the Nets don't have any leverage here. And they're going to say, here's a second rounder. Here's 2 second rounders. Take it or leave. That's what it is.
This is why I didn't like this trade. I'd rather just have not given him the money. And I'd rather have made a run at Jonathan Kuminga. That's what I would have done. I would have saved all the money and just made a run at the Kuminga. I wouldn't have even offered them the 6, and I would have put that $6 million towards a $25 million offer for Kuminga and see if we could get Kuminga, who we would have a long-term plan for. Like, to me, Pete, how many more second-round picks do we really need? How many is like an abundance of second-round picks?
Hold on, I gotta fix up my mic for a second.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
How does this sound? I'm talking about the AirPods. It's not as good as the Yeti.
It's not as good, but you sound okay, right, guys? He sounds all right.
I'm gonna fix it up in a second, but well, what was the question? Go back to it. I'm sorry.
I mean, we're talking about trading Cam Thomas for 1 or 2 second rounders, which I think that's what you're going to get from at the deadline, especially since he doesn't have the second year in his contract. I mean, at what point do we have enough? What do you do with all these second round picks? At what point do we have enough second round picks? Like, it's enough already with the second round picks.
Oh, the more the merrier. Like, you're gonna pass up assets. Like listen, like, our second rounders worth a great amount. No, but you could add them in deal, as part of deal sweeteners, put them as part of other deals. Maybe you move up in a draft. Why would you pass up?
You do know that Sean Marks is our GM and he doesn't do those things, correct? He sits and he picks with his picks. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we need to live in reality here. Sean Marks isn't that kind of mover. Like, to me, every second round pick we have is just some guy we're going to draft, like just some body. And now what are we going to have? But I want to get to that. Like, to me, Sean Marks doesn't do that. But your thoughts?
You make a point with this draft, but I remember he moved up for Isaiah Whitehead, who obviously didn't work out. But like, it's not like he's
Hmm?
afraid to move up. I think in this draft, he figured out all the picks. Why give up a pick? I'd rather just do quantity over quality.
Yeah. Look, I want to get to that now, right? Because we're already talking about the roster. The roster is filled as it is. We have too many people on the roster. Once we cut those non-guaranteed contracts, we're going to have $7 million worth of cap space left, roughly 6.7 or something like that. We'll call it 7. What do we do at that point with either, we have too many guys on the roster right now, but if we cut those guys, then we have $7 million worth of cap space left. What's the balancing act here, Pete? What do the Nets do? What's Sean Marks' move the rest of this offseason?
There is none really to do. They got 1.9 mil left in cap space, and they still have an exception via I think it's called like the caps whatever. They have like an $8.7 million exception that they could use to get a player if need be. I think they hold on to that. I don't think there's any more moves. I think this is it, unless you want to call like adding like a two-way player or like a training camp type of deal.
Well, my question is, like, we already have too many guys on the roster. We have guys with non-guaranteed contracts on the roster. If we cut those guys to get down to 15 men on the roster, we're going to have $7 million worth of cap space, right? Then you have to do something with that to get to the basement floor. We have to spend $7 million more to get to the basement, to get to the floor. How are we going to get there? You know what I'm saying? What I mean, it's just $7 million, but what are we doing to get there? I guess is what I'm asking. If we do cut those guys and there's no more trades to be made, where we can't take on any more salary, what do we do? How do we get to the basement? How do we get to the salary floor?
Do you remember? We talked about this before. Do you remember what the penalty is?
You got to divide the money up between the rest of the players, right?
Yeah, there's no penalty. So if I'm the Nets, why would I even make a move? I'd rather just give the money, keep the flex. We know Sean Marks loves flexibility, right? So why not just keep the flexibility and give extra money to your players?
Because you just got in a feud with Cam Thomas. Like, why don't you just give the money to Cam Thomas?
$1 million then. You get a couple extra thousand.
Yeah, I know, but why not just give? Why if we're $7 million under the cap, why not increase his offer by $7 million just to get to the floor? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I think the Cam Thomas
what they did, right? They actually offered him a deal that was worth up to $11 million.
Yeah.
But they wanted, the whole deal was like the no trade clause they wanted to get rid of.
Right. And he wasn't going to, because he wants to be traded, and I guess he wants to determine where he's going to be traded.
He wants to be paid.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course he does. In a free market, how much do you think Cam Thomas is worth? Like, if you were Sean Marks, what would you offer him? Like, I told Dylan, I value him. I would have offered him a contract for 4 years, $80 million, because I want him here. I want him to know that I want you here now, and I want you here when we contend and when we compete. I would have offered him 4 years, $80 million. What would you have offered him?
Oh man, this is the thing that people always get mixed up. Players get paid based on their potential, what you think they're going to do.
Right.
And I'm looking at a young guy under 25, still in his prime years, putting up 20 points a game, that I could at least use as a potential 6 man of the year type of role. I would pay him like $20 million a year. If you look at the cap space now, $20 million a year, $25 million a year is really not that much money compared to the cap. You know, it's less. I think it's like 15%, 10% of the cap. To add in that talent, basically, this is the bet of, do you think Cam Thomas is not going to get any better in the next 3 years? And I bet that he would. I think that he will.
I agree. I think he's going to sharpen up his game. He'll get better offensively. I think he'll hit the three ball at a little bit higher rate. He'll do things a little bit better. I think he'll sharpen his skills. I don't think he's going to become a distributor. I don't think he's going to become a playmaker. I don't think he's going to become an adequate defender. I don't think he's going to do any of those things. He may get slightly better at those things, but like here's a stat I saw the other day. Of all the guys in the NBA who average at least 25 minutes per game, do you know where Cam Thomas ranked defensively?
Probably towards the bottom.
Third from the bottom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he might get better. He might be 10th from the bottom, but you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't matter, right? Like he's so bad defensively, and he like if you just look at him, like he's got the absolute worst body type to be an NBA defender. You know, he's built like a tank. He's got massive legs. He's 6'3". Like he's not fast. Like there's nothing in him that he can become a good NBA defender. You know what I'm saying? He can try hard, which I think his effort got better on defensively. I agree with that. But like, if you just look at Cam Thomas's body, that's not an NBA defender.
I think the issue that you're having here is that he's a tweener, right?
Yeah.
He has the body of a point guard, like the skills of a shooting guard. He's not fast enough to keep up with the other shooting guards, and he's small, right? I will say this. People might call me crazy. I thought his on-ball defense got better, especially compared to like the first 2 years. He would get consistently killed, like in pick and rolls and stuff. I thought his on-ball defense got better.
No, I agree. It got
and
better.
That's something to grow on, you know.
But my point is
he's not a good defender. That's what it is, you know.
Here's a fair point, but Marcus Smart is fast. Like I get Marcus Smart's body composition is the same as Cam Thomas. To use a football term, if they both ran the 40, who wins, Marcus Smart or Cam Thomas? You know what I'm saying? I get what you're saying, Leaf. It's a fair point, right? Marcus Smart is an excellent defender. Cam Thomas is, and they're not built that differently. I would say that Marcus still has a more athletic looking body than Cam Thomas, who's got legs like tree trunks. But I get what you're saying. But Marcus Smart is fast. Cam Thomas is slow. That's like Tony Allen was not built that much differently, right? But Tony Allen was quick as a hiccup. So, like, I get what you're saying. Cam Thomas is all those things and then slow-footed. It's a problem. Like, are you telling me like you think Cam Thomas? Is that confusing what I just said, Pete? Did I not explain that well?
Yeah, that was horrible.
Was it?
Yeah, that was absolutely horrible. I'm totally confused by what you just said. And Leaf is obviously
Marcus Smart is quicker, is more fleet-footed than Cam Thomas. Is that fair?
I think when we think of Marcus Smart, I think it comes down to physicality. No, like, is he faster than Cam Thomas? I never saw them race against each other. But I guess the point you're trying to make, probably Marcus Smart is probably faster than Cam Thomas, if I had to take a guess.
So if you have a quick first step, you can blow by Cam Thomas, you can't blow by Marcus Smart, right? That's my point, right?
I think it's too totally. Cam Thomas is not physical. I disagree with player one. I think he wants to have a commitment to defense because, let's face it, that's one of his biggest knocks, and he wants to get paid, right? If I'm Cam Thomas and I'm looking at the stats that you just said on his defense, and I want to get paid, why would I not commit to defense? I just don't think he has the talent to do it. I think so. You're right. Like,
that's what I'm trying to say. Is he doesn't have the ability to be a top-notch defender. Like these guys in the NBA are really good, really fast, and really skilled. It's hard. Like it's not easy to play defense, and it's not like back in the '90s where playing defense just meant fouling. I want you guys to go back and watch the 1992 playoffs. I think it's '92. They're saying how good of a job Gerald Wilkins is doing with Michael Jordan. He plays the entire game. Gerald Wilkins plays the entire game with his hand in Michael Jordan's jersey. It's like, you can't do this anymore. That's a foul. You got to foul the game in the first 6 plays, right? Like, so you have to keep your feet in front of these people. It's really hard to play defense in today's NBA. It's really hard.
Also, another thing that I think a lot of people forget, and a lot of people are gonna shit on me for this, but this is just a fact of the game. When you're getting double teamed on offense, it's very tiring, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason why you have someone like I'm not comparing their defense, but I'm saying keep this in mind. Like someone like LeBron used to be like someone who was more of an on-ball defender early in his career, and now you'll see him play off the ball on defense a lot more to kind of give him, a little extra breath here and there. It's tough being a guy who's being double teamed on defense, being double teamed on offense, and then getting picked on defense.
Do you agree with this statement? Go watch any Nets game from last season and say Cam Thomas looks committed on defense. Do you think he put forth effort on defense? Whether or not he was good at it, I'm not asking. Did he put forth effort last year on defense?
So player one, I'm going to ask you. So 20 in the 20, what he played 25 games. I cannot find that one possession he was not committed on defense.
To me, the question is the effort on defense has been better. It's still
Also,
he's not a good.
Wait. Let me say one last thing. And Jordy made a point of the whole defense thing, right? If he was really not committed to defense, do you think he would get the minutes he was getting with Jordy? That's something just to think about. I could be wrong.
I think the effort was better, right? It's still the end result is still poor, but like I don't think you can kill him on effort. Is he grinding? Is he swarming all over you like Zaire? No. But I think the effort was better. Like I think there was an effort given on defense. As like Pete said, his first year with the Nets, there was zero shits given defensively for Cam Thomas. I agree with you. Like
he was getting picked on. He was getting picked on, like abused.
Bowling Jet says, "What up, Gary? Go Nets. I see 25 wins at most this year." I said I think they get close to what they had last year. It might be bad though. We're gonna look at the roster in a minute. It's really bad. How many wins, if you had to guess right now, assuming no major changes, how many wins do you think the Nets get this year?
Without knowing the rotation, the starting lineup, and who's actually going to be like on the roster, I would say like 23 wins. I think we're going to be, I don't know why. I think the fact that we only have one first round pick this year, we're going to be pleasantly surprised that the Nets are actually going to do a little more pro tanking type of basketball this year.
I want to get into this. When we say tanking, I don't like the word tanking. Right? I just think it's like, it's like in college basketball. You don't really have this anymore with the transfer portal. But it's like when you have all freshmen. Like we're not trying to lose, but we're just not going to be very good this year because we have a team full of freshmen. That's how I kind of look at the Nets this year. Like we're not trying to lose games. Tanking is what Philly and Utah did last year, in my opinion. Just losing a bunch of games because you have a bunch of 19-year-old and 20-year-olds on your team, to me, isn't tanking. I look at this roster. I'm going to read it down, and this is in order of their salaries. Michael Porter Jr., Nick Claxton, Terrence Mann, Yeager, Highsmith, Traore, Clowney, Drake Powell, Dariq Whitehead, Saraf, Wolf, Keon, Jalen Wilson, Tyrese Martin, Drew Timme. Is this the worst roster, including the 12 and 70 year, you've ever seen the Nets have?
It's probably up there. I say there's more potential with this team because we don't know how the rookies are going to play. Not that I'm, having my hopes up that they're going to go and surprise me too much, considering their ages and what we've seen from Summer League. Like, we're not seeing anything explosive happen, but there's at least a potential here that they could be better than that team. That team had a lot of veterans, and I think this team has a little more potential. And I believe in Jordy, man. I really believe in Jordy.
I believe in Jordy too, and that's like the one silver lining in all of this is that we got the right coach. My fear is we had the right coach before and we fired him. There's that in Atkinson. That's my fear is that we're gonna, that this thing isn't gonna rebuild quick. Like to me, looking at this roster, you're never ever. I don't care if you get Popovich. I don't care, like, if you get Red Auerbach, you are not winning with this roster ever, right? So, like, my concern is that they're going to grow impatient, and Jordy is going to go the way of Atkinson. And he's just going to get fired basically for no reason because he's got this roster, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, this roster is so bad. I don't care who the head coach is. You're not winning with this roster or anything that even resembles it. The Nets have a history. Marks has a history of firing coaches. What are your thoughts that Jordy doesn't even get a chance to get this thing off the ground?
Oh, I think that's absolutely wrong. I think everyone knew what the deal was coming into this. Jordy, I think I'm going to wordly very, very carefully. I think was coming into this thinking he was going to have a team that was going to compete, led by Mikal Bridges, and then that trade goes down, and everyone sees the roster that he's working with. If he gets fired, I think it would be a mutiny. Like, everyone knows there's not enough talent here to supply a team to make the playoffs. Like, what, Jordy at least has another 2 years at least before we start talking about this, at least in my opinion, unless something crazy happens.
No, I agree with you. He's got 2 more years, but this team, this roster is not within 2 years of making the playoffs. This roster is infinitely far away from making the play. Like, this is not even the beginnings of a playoff roster. Like, this is like, I think the Nets, you guys aren't going to like this, are on the trajectory of being the Washington Wizards. Like, they're just going to be bad for the next 10 years, and there's not much we can do about it. Like, I really believe that. Like, I look at this roster, I see nothing here. Like, I see nothing. Like, I don't. How is this not going to be a horrible team for years to come? Oh, sorry, I lost you for a question. I lost you for a
second.
Yeah, I'm looking at this roster, and this makes my eyes bleed. I don't even see like good young players on the roster. I see a bunch of dudes. Like, so my question is, how is he ever going to win with anything that ever resembles this, even remotely resembles this roster? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is so far away from being an NBA team. How does you're saying he's got 2 more years until he needs to worry about his job? And I agree, but you ain't winning with this roster 2 years from now.
Well, are we talking about winning, like becoming an 8th seed, or being an NBA championship contender?
Be an 8th seed. You're not becoming an 8th seed with this roster.
Well, I'm going to give you a little fact about the top 3 salaries you see over there. Michael Porter Jr., Clax, and Terrence Mann make up 51% of the cap. Okay? Yep. There's going to be, at some point, there's going to be a lot of spending being done somewhere. And that's when the roster is going to be fortified. When you have the young guys starting to develop and get into, the player that they're going to be, and you're going to be able to throw some money at some guys, and that's really going to stimulate the roster. I don't think the Nets want to be a loser in 3 years. I think we have to realistically look at a 2-3 year window for them to start competing again. And I'm saying, when I say competing, I mean make the playoffs.
Pete, if they don't hit a home run again with like Kyrie and KD both saying we want to come here, I don't even see how we like come close to the playoffs. This roster is so bad, and there's not a young player on it that you're saying, okay, give this guy another year and he can carry us. Like, give Troy a year or two, and he's gonna be an All NBA player that can carry us. I don't think anyone thinks that. Like, I just look at this, and to me, this is the beginning of a long period, and this is why I said this draft was so important. You had to fire Marks before this draft. You couldn't let him do this. To me, the only way out of this now is to get Peterson or Debanza. Like, that's it. That's the only way out of this. And then you can start the rebuild. To me, this isn't the start of a rebuild because you just have a bunch of guys. Like, if all of these guys are gone, who cares? Like, it's just a roster full of dudes. You have no pieces here.
The draft class I look at is more of like a supplementary piece. You're not wrong. Like, I think Traore could be a starting point guard. I like him a lot. I'm very, very big on him. I'm going to put all my chips into the middle with Traore being a starting point guard in a couple years. And, is he going to be an all-star? Probably not. but can he be like a starting point guard? And then you get an AJ DeBanza, or you get, like a prime prospect in the next draft in the top 3. That's how I'm looking at it. You're right. They don't have the anchor. That's what they need.
Mark, you could have said the same thing about the Thunder back in 2020. And okay, fine. Are we going to trade for one of the 3 or 4 best players in the league? If we are, what are we going to give up? What piece are we trading to get that player? Then I can agree with you, right? But like, what piece are we trading to get our SGA? We don't have anything to trade.
That's this draft coming up. You have to hit. You botched this draft, so the next one, when you only have 1 pick, you have to hit.
Right,
it's got to be one of those top 3 guys.
OKC hit with all their picks, and they hit on their trade for SGA. You know what I'm saying? It's not like if they just picked right and didn't trade for SGA, they'd be a championship. They'd be better. They'd be a playoff team. They'd be good. But without SGA, which was a trade piece, which is something they traded for, they're not a championship team. That's the MVP of the league. That's one of the top 3 or 4 players in the league. They got him in a trade because they had pieces. We don't have any pieces to trade. We have nothing anyone would want.
You're looking, the way that you got to look at this is you're not looking at a Chet Holmgren on the roster right now, right? I'm looking at like what's the guy's name on the Thunder? I'm looking at like for a Jalen Williams on one of these draft picks have to hit and become like a Jalen Williams. Maybe someone who's not going to be like the anchor, like your SGA, but a crucial support piece on the roster.
I want to, because Leaf loves Zach Edey. I would make this trade. Would you make this trade? Claxton for Zach Edey?
Probably.
I know the salaries don't work, but hypothetically, if we could make this trade, would you make it?
Absolutely, because the potential of Claxton is probably, we've seen that he's probably not going to get much better. And with Zach Edey, there's at least there's a chance he's going to have some potential, right? And then just getting off the Claxton contract would be very helpful going forward as well.
If we could, to me, you can get rid of him. Dylan's come up with this. The easiest, simplest trade for me is Claxton to Boston for Anthony Simons, who's on a expiring deal. The contract worked, like everything basically works. Boston gets their center that they desperately need. And we get an expiring deal in Anthony Simons, which you can buy out or you can just play him, I guess. I don't know. What would you think of a trade like that?
I would do that because I'm all for losing again this year. I'm all tank. If you would do a trade like that and you buy out Simons, that would be, I would be imagining that you're pushing this team in the direction of starting a Day'Ron Sharpe, and you're just going to play all the young guys. You're going to have Michael Porter Jr. and a bunch of young guys.
Yeah. So you can add Cam Thomas to this. What is, for you, if you were Jordy, what would be your starting lineup? What would be the lineup that you start opening night in Charlotte?
Are you asking me what I think it's going to be?
No, I'm asking
what I want it to be. Or
what would Jordy's going to do? I made you head coach for the night. What's your starting lineup?
Okay, I'm going to go probably a lot younger. And I'm going to start. No, I love Nolan Traore. I'm going to put him at point guard. I'm going to live with all the mistakes, the 5 turnovers a game. He's going to have a 8 points, 8 assists. Even that's probably too high. 8 points, 5 assists season, right? Cam Thomas, because I want to get some trade value out of him. Michael Porter Jr. for spacing. Claxton obviously has to start. And then I probably put in Zaire Williams also in there.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said. So you said the 2 rookies, right?
True. I'm going to put in Traore, Cam Thomas, Zaire Williams. No, Yegor is coming off the bench. I don't believe.
Oh,
I think I don't. You know what it is? What scares me? I don't think he. At least in summer league, I was very scared that he wasn't able to get around guys. And I think Nolan Traore has that elite at the very least. I don't know if he could shoot, but he has that first step. And that's an elite weapon that he can develop over time, right? And I'm willing to push my minutes into that to see what happens there.
All right.
That's
Like,
what I don't think that's gonna happen, but that's what
Yeah.
I would do.
Yeah, no, I get what you say. Yeah, I don't mind that, right? But yeah, Yegor is going to start. They invested a lot in him. They
Yeah,
overdraft.
obviously.
Yeah, they overdrafted him. I don't care. But by overdrafted him, I mean they drafted him earlier in the draft than you expected him to go. Anywhere he was projected to go. I don't even hate the Yegor pick. I don't hate it. I don't think it's a bad pick. I really don't. I think it's going to work out okay.
You know what, Gary? I'm going to tell you this. What if I told you Yegor was not our first pick? What if I told you instead of taking a Ben Saraf, we wound up moving up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we took Yegor with a second first round pick, maybe like at pick 12 or something.
Yeah.
If I got like a Derek Queen and then Yegor as my second first rounder, oh my God, that changes everything.
I did a mock draft where I traded Cam Johnson and 19 or whatever it was to San Antonio to pick 13, and I took Yegor at 13 in my mock draft. Right, I like Yegor. Right, yeah, no, I like Yegor. I think there's a lot of upside. If we would have taken him at 12 or 13, we would have traded up for a second, another first rounder, a higher pick in the first round. Yeah, I would have loved to have him as my second first round pick. If you would have gotten
that changes everything.
Yeah,
it really does.
All right. And then as far as the roster, we have a couple of guys who are trade pieces. Haywood Highsmith is a guy that can help a playoff team. Is he gonna play out the season with the Nets? Is he gonna get traded? If so, is he a deadline guy? Does he get traded before the deadline? What happens with Highsmith?
I have no idea because I'll tell you why. Because what the Nets are probably gonna do is, besides Yegor, you're probably gonna see vets take in the starting lineup and getting probably the majority of the minutes, like the first half of the season, and then in the second half, you'll probably see the rookies play. So I could see him being dumped off and traded, or I can see him being like a Jordy favorite for whatever reason it may be. But you're right. He could contend to a playoff team. Maybe a team comes up to us and says, we'll give you something for him. And Marks would probably take it, even if it's like a second rounder.
I think you can get a second. Highsmith is a guy, he can hit the corner three and he can defend multiple positions. Like he's not it's like the Zaire. Like he can help any team he's on. Like there's value in Haywood Highsmith. He's not a bad player, and he does the things a playoff team needs. Like I think you can definitely trade, and his salary is not significant. I think you can definitely trade Highsmith for sure and get a second round pick for him.
I agree.
The other two guys, Nick Claxton and Terrence Mann, two bigger salaries. Those guys make $40 million between the two of them. Are they going to get traded this year?
Claxton, probably not. I would be shocked just because of the size of the contract.
Yeah.
And what is Mann making, like 15 million or something like that? Like if you look at it, it's really not a lot. It's really not a lot when you compare it to the percentage of cap. It's just Michael Porter Jr. and Claxton together make up, like I said, those three players made up 51% of the cap. Obviously, looking at the salaries right there, Michael Porter Jr. and Claxton make the majority of the entire Nets cap of the beefier part of the cap. The 15 million is really not that much to pay for someone who's going to be a playoff contributor if someone likes Mann. It's not that much. It really isn't.
It's crazy. Right after your top three guys, Porter, Claxton, and Mann, your next highest guy paid player is a rookie on the first year of his rookie deal.
Why is Yegor making more money than Cam Thomas?
Imagine because Cam Thomas turned down a bigger contract. But imagine you're Cam. How pissed are you?
Exactly.
The Nets didn't even offer you more money than they're paying Terrence Mann. I understand why. I fully understand why Cam Thomas is pissed off. I get it. Like the Nets told you, we think Terrence Mann is worth more money than you. We're more committed to Terrence Mann than we are to you. If you're Cam Thomas, how do you respond to that?
Do you think the Nets are more committed to Terrence Mann than Cam Thomas?
Economically, they are. They got Terrence Mann at $15 million a year for the next 3 years. They weren't offering Cam Thomas that.
Well, you got a first rounder also. You got to keep that in mind, right? That was the reason. That like we're taking in Terrence Mann because we're in love with the
Understood.
player, right?
I understood. But
And I get
economically,
what you're saying. I get what you're saying, Gary.
it's like if I'm Cam Thomas, that's how I'm looking at it, right? Like they think Terrence Mann is more valuable than me, right? Like I'm gonna have a chip on my shoulder too if I'm Cam Thomas. Like I don't like the way that Cam Thomas came back and said I want $40 million. It's like, yeah, so do I want 40 million too, Cam. You know what? And neither one of us
Did he say that though? Or is
yes,
that just
Cam.
reported? He
Well,
said
okay,
there's
fair
an
enough.
actual
Yeah.
quote.
Well, okay,
We
yeah.
know that he wanted it, right? But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
did he actually go to the meeting and be like, he went
I
to
did,
CJ Holmes and said, I want 40 million? No, he
it was
didn't.
reported that that's what you're right. That's fair. That's fair. It was reported that he wanted $40 million.
But you know where it can go bad, Gary? I talked to you about this. What if Cam Thomas has a Spencer Dinwiddie type year that you're right, maybe he does feel slighted by what just happened, right? And Spencer Dinwiddie did have a lot more money in the bank when that happened compared to Cam Thomas.
Yeah.
And I don't think Cam Thomas would want to necessarily, for a player that already has quote unquote, a personality issues, even though I don't think that he does, but that's what's getting thrown on his name. I don't think it would be smart to do that. But what if he does do that, right? That's a problem.
It is. That's what I said. There's no good way to have Cam Thomas on the Nets this year. That's why I would if I would have offered it if it was me. I would have offered him 4 years, 80 million because I want him here because I value him. Sean Marks doesn't. So if I were Sean Marks, I wouldn't have even offered him the qualifying. It's not worth all the headaches this is going to cause. It's not worth a second round pick to me. I'll save the $6 million. I'll lose the second round pick, right? That's fine. But at least I don't have a season full of a headache of what to do with Cam Thomas. I can just start Traore and Yeager together, and we're gonna lose every game because we're gonna have 100 turnovers. But at least I have a direction. Now I'm in this bind with what do I do with Cam Thomas? If I just didn't even offer him the qualifying, if I just let him leave, I don't have to deal with that.
I'll tell you why. Because you're not going to win anyway. And for all the people last year that said, you can get a good player in the second round, you don't need to tank. So, okay, so then you're going to get a second round pick and hope you get an MVP with a second round pick.
Let's get Brunson
you know what I mean?
or Joker in the second round. Yeah, let's just do that. That's easy. Yeah, I mean,
right? Like, that's,
yeah.
Like, if we saw anything from this past draft, it seems that the Nets would rather go, or Sean Marks would rather go by going with, taking shots and hope that you hit on one of the shots rather than putting into one player. So why not try to get as many picks as possible? Because there's going to be one team. There has to be one. You cannot tell me there's not one NBA team at the trade deadline, if Cam Thomas has the same numbers he had last year, that they're not going to say it's worth the risk of a second round pick to help him. He becomes like our sixth man, right? And he'll get minutes. And Cam Thomas, he'll probably be very excited to go to a playoff team because big time player performers get paid.
And that's like his best path to getting paid is to get traded to a playoff team and show that he can score.
I agree.
Now that's a double. If he goes to the playoffs and sucks, he ain't getting paid. He ain't getting paid nothing. If he goes to the playoffs and stinks it up and he can't score in the playoffs, but I think he can. I would have faith.
Do you think, as Cam Thomas being like a third option on a team, on a good playoff team, you don't think he's gonna light it up when he's not?
I absolutely, I absolutely, and that's why I would want to keep him. When you look at what third options get paid, Michael Porter Jr. is a third option on a good team, on a championship team. He got almost $40 million. If you look at what Bridges, old friend Mikal Bridges, who's a fourth or fifth option on a contending team, he got $40 million. OG got $40 million.
He got paid because he's the Iron Man of the NBA and the defense, right? That's a little, but I understand what you're saying. That fourth options can get paid. They can get paid like that if they show their worth. You don't have to be a first option to get like 30 million.
Right, but Porzingis went to Boston to be a third option. Right, when he went there, he wanted to be their third option. He got paid, right? Contending teams pay their third option big money. And that's why I'm saying I wanted to keep Cam Thomas here for 4 years. I wanted to keep him here long term, and I would have paid him $20 million a year, which isn't a lot. My point is $20 million a year for a third option on a contending team isn't a lot. It's going to give you economic freedom down the road. So, but they didn't view him that way. They don't view Cam Thomas as valuable as I do. I guess. I don't know.
Apparently, a lot of the NBA doesn't. I don't. I think there's a disconnect somewhere. I don't know if it's on Cam Thomas's side or the Nets' side or the NBA's side. I don't know if this guy, went through the draft process and had abysmal interviews to the fact that he was invited to the green room at the draft, meaning they expected him to be, like in the lottery, and look where he fell, right? That was a shock. So I really don't know what it is. I don't know. You know what we have to look out for? If he is traded, I'm going to be waiting for the first story that comes up talking about that he was a cancer in the locker room. That's the first thing.
Leaf, that's my point, though. Good teams, contending teams, pay their third option a lot of money. That's my entire point. If contending teams pay their third option way more than $20 million, if we got our third option at $20 million per year, that's a bargain. That's a steal. That's good value. That's my entire point, Leaf, is that good teams pay their third option a lot more than I was offering Cam Thomas.
Even the sixth man, let's even like a sixth man on a good team. I'm not gonna lie, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I'm sure if you go on any of these websites, you could find like a sixth man or like a scorer off the bench that gets paid at least $20 million a year on a good team.
Yeah, $20 million for that option, that third option or fourth option. It's not a lot of money, and to me, Cam Thomas is well worth that for what he does. I always look at it like this: when I've given up a 10-point lead, the other team goes on a 12-2 run, I can't put the ball in the basket. I can't get any offense going. I can give the ball to Cam Thomas and let him get to work, and he's going to get me buckets. There's value in that. Right? Like, it's really hard to score in the playoffs. It gets real tough to score in the playoffs. Cam Thomas, I believe, can score. We're going to find out, right? But to me, Cam Thomas is definitely a guy whose game would translate into the playoffs. Like, he can create his own shot. He can get to the rim. He can create space. Like, he's going to be able to score in the playoffs. And that's valuable to me. I want to keep that. If I can keep that at $20 million per year, to me, that's great value.
Yeah, this isn't like Landry Shamet, right?
Right.
Who is, who had an abysmal playoff series against the Bucks and was getting abused until they had to bench him.
Yeah, I would have done this too. They could have front loaded Cam's contract. I would have front loaded the contract too. I would have gave him a contract similar to that what they gave to Claxton.
And Lee, I saw something from Leaf, and Courtney Lee was also a starter on an NBA Finals team, also, right? And then he winds up coming to the Nets the next year, and they wind up having that horrible abysmal season, right? Yeah. It's not the fact that Mikal was in the finals as a starter. You got to look at the individual talent.
And Courtney Lee and Bridges, that's a fair comp. Like, Courtney Lee and Bridges are actually like pretty comparable players.
I wouldn't say that, but the point I'm trying to make is that just because you're a starter on a finals team doesn't mean you're worth like a certain amount of money. It's the individual talent of the individual player we have to look at.
What did Bridges offer to Phoenix? I would say what Bridges did for Phoenix is what Courtney Lee did. I don't think it's that much. I'm not a Bridges fan. Like, in case you can't tell, I don't value Bridges, right? Like, what role did Bridges did Bridges play on Phoenix?
I guess they both play defense. Yeah. I get what you're saying. I'm
not a Bridges guy. I don't like. To me, Bridges is like the least valuable player in the NBA. I just don't. I don't have any value. I value Mikal Bridges the same as Sean Marks values Cam Thomas, which is to say, not at all. Dylan said Cam is like the 8th option on this. That's okay. Yeah, Dylan does not like Cam Thomas. He's grown sour on Cam Thomas.
Shout out to the Brooklyn Knight. I like that. I like that, Leo.
Wait, the Brooklyn Knight in here?
Yeah, his picture was the Brooklyn Knight.
Oh, okay.
And that's a good point. That's a good point. Leaf. Bridges did have all that. That's what I'm saying. It's not about that he was a starter on the finals team, but that you saw the talent that he had those accolades.
Okay, the accolades to me don't. Who votes on these things?
The writers.
Okay, so who cares what they think? That like I
The
don't. The accolades,
players get paid
they
based
do,
on where
which
they
is
finish,
no,
right?
the players care, right? Because they get paid on it. But that's insane. Like you're getting paid more because some writer who doesn't know anything about basketball voted for you. Like who cares?
I wouldn't say that.
Do you ever see who votes on these things? Michelle Beadle, Stephen A. Smith. Like
I
don't
met
care what-
Michelle Beadle was a great woman. I met her when I was younger. So excuse you, sir.
When she worked for the Nets. Is that when or no?
She went for the Yankees.
Okay, she worked for the Nets too. She was the halftime. The year
She
they were
was
12 and
doing
70.
stuff. I
Okay.
met Jorge Posada
There you
and her at a like a promo event at a way when I was a kid years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is even before she was on ESPN. This is like way back in the
Oh
day.
yeah, way before.
Yeah,
This is when
okay.
she's on the Yes Network.
Yeah. That's when she worked for the Nets. Well, she did 1 year. She was the halftime girl. The year they were 12 and 70.
She was doing Yankee stuff.
She was doing Yankees. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm out of ammunition, Pete. This went a little quicker than I thought. You got anything you want to close out on?
Nope, I'm exhausted. Let's wrap it up.
All right,
I'm
Pete.
good. I think I got everything off. Go ahead.
All right. That was good. I appreciate you hopping on, Pete. These off seasons are tough. There's not a ton to talk about. September 11th. Oh, Pete, do a commercial. Tell everyone where they can find you. My bad. I almost closed out without that. Tell everyone. I mean, if you're listening to net content in September, you know Pete. But go ahead, Pete. Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, you could follow me on YouTube, NetFans. You know, I do a podcast. So it's supposed to be weekly. I've been taking off some time due to health reasons. I don't want to talk about anything more than that, but I got to start getting back into the thick of it. And it'll be coming back very, very soon. And you can follow me on Twitter at NetFans. You know.
Thank you, Pete. Thanks for jumping on. It's always a pleasure. It's September 11th, 2025, from Texas to the world. Thank y'all, and God bless.